We have technology in aviation, we have in maritime, we have industrial control system, we have cyber physical system in oil and gas, banking and finance, business automation, office automations, and name it. All of these are technical, and even in health, we have tech being applicable there as well. So most of the companies who always smile to bank are the tech manufacturers. I am sure that most of them prioritize go-to-market than security. So that is why we have issues today. As at last year, there are about 320,000 unpatched vulnerabilities. This could have been patched before going to the market. And last year alone, up to 1.6 million applications, mobile applications were launched. I am very sure that all these applications have vulnerability. So look at 320,000 unpatched vulnerabilities. This could be one in all the 1.6 million applications, or it could be in some other applications that are not mobile. So, and that is why we now have a lot of issues. In 2025, we have 425 million cyber breaches in 2025. The Q1 this year, we have 210. By the time it is Q4, it will be up to 800 million breaches. These breaches cost the whole world $10.5 trillion. $10.5 trillion. So if you look at the relationship between the cost of the breaches and the budget that we put in place globally to protect ourselves, you will see a disconnect. Up to $212 billion was the budget of protection all over the world last year, and this is expected to rise to $250 million. If you look at protecting ourselves with $450 million versus $10.5 trillion that we spend to mitigate, it doesn't make sense to me. You also look at it from the standpoint that globally, we have up to 4.8 million cybersecurity shortages. If we say we don't want to spend this 10.5 billion on remediating breaches, let's use it to recruit people that are looking for a job. Each one will get $2,178 million for all the 4.8 million that are not equipped. So you wonder, why do we have to wait until we are breached, where it is cheaper to protect than to react or to respond to protection? And I think as I am worried, so also people who are in leadership are also worried as well. That is why we have government coming up to share statistics and look at what can we do to solve this problem. In Africa alone, South Sudan is topping the chart of the most compromised cybersecurity standpoint, with up to 93 million breaches in a year, followed by South Africa and Nigeria. So everybody is worried. So, and based on these incidences here and there, ITU released index of countries that are secured. Morocco topped the chart in Africa with 88.3%, followed by South Africa. South Africa is the fifth, which is 83.something%. Nigeria is 52.9% based on ITU cybersecurity index. To me, that is not encouraging at all. So that is why to say we are now looking at, let's come together, let's discuss this. Now, in Nigeria, we have digital economy as part of our national strategy. In fact, a whole ministry changed its name and added digital economy to it as the last name. So how do we protect digital economy without, improving its cybersecurity? That is why we bring experts all over the world. We have people from South Africa, from Uganda, from UK, from Australia. They are seated in our midst today and they will discuss this. So I want you to please pay attention. I want you to listen. We will ask ourselves after the program that, is my country doing well? Nigeria has National Cyber Security Coordinating Center under Office of National Security Advisor. Nigeria has Cyber Crime Coordination Center under the Nigerian Police Force. Nigeria has NGSAT. Nigeria has NITDA. All of these are not working. They are not working together to face this issue. Central bank regulates banks. Who regulate critical national information infrastructure? October 2024 last year, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu issued executive order to the Office of National Security Advisor that they should protect critical national information infrastructure. So protection could mean set up a framework. Framework without compliance is equal to zero. So do we have enough regulation? Do we have fantastic compliance? Do we have our own indigenous application? All our cloud system in Nigeria are foreign hyperscalers. Do we indigenize our own infrastructure? Do we develop all our technology? What are we going to do to move forward? All of this will be discussed. So ladies and gentlemen, I am not the speaker, so I won't take your time. So please be open, connect with people, learn, ask questions, and I'm sure you will go on with something. Thank you and welcome again.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Cyber breaches are eating deeply into our system. So this is a call for everybody to put all hands on deck to be cyber safe and to be cyber smart. We celebrate you, sir. Quickly, we'll be bringing up our first speaker for the day. Our first speaker is from First Bank and the person of Dr. Nnaji Arisen. Dr. Nnaji Arisen. Do we have Dr. Nnaji Arisen in the building? Okay, so we skip his slots and move to the next speaker. So the next speaker will be giving us a report on Nigerian cyber threats 2025. Doing this is in the person of Mr. Mohammed Aminu Ahmed, PhD. Do you have Mr. Mohammed in the building? Okay. Thank you. So we'll move to the next speaker. We'll be talking about building cyber resilience for critical infrastructure and economic stability, and the person of AIG Ifeanyi Uche. AIG Ifeanyi Uche. Thank you so much, sir. You're welcome to the podium.
Let me salute you, first of all. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bashir Abdullahi. I'm an Assistant Commissioner of Police and the current head of the Cyber Crime Laboratories of the Nigeria Police Force National Cyber Crime Center. Distinguished guests, esteemed cybersecurity experts, captains of industry, members of the academic community, colleagues from law enforcement, ladies and gentlemen. It is both an honor and a privilege to address this distinguished gathering at a time when the digital transformation of our nation is accelerating at an unprecedented pace. I commend the organizers for convening this timely and strategic conference focused on building cyber resilience, securing our critical national infrastructure, and harnessing the transformative potential of artificial intelligence to drive sustainable economic growth. Today, cyberspace has become the backbone of modern society. Our financial systems, telecommunications network, power grids, transportation systems, healthcare services, and government operations are all deeply interconnected and dependent on digital technologies. While this interconnectedness creates immense opportunity, it also exposes us to sophisticated and evolving cyber threats. Yesterday, after my Asri prayer, I sat down there very quietly. I was so worried. So a colleague seated next to me asked, "Oh boy, what is wrong with you?" I said, "We are in deep trouble." Believe me, I wasn't thinking of this conference. I was thinking of the trade landscape we are facing. In my position as an investigator and a digital forensic expert, every day we receive reports of cyber breaches in our financial institutions. Billions of naira are lost almost every weekend. I am telling you. If they don't do it this week, then next week they will recompense. They will make sure that they cover what they didn't do the other week. It is so terrible. In Nigeria, as in many nations, critical national infrastructure remains a prime target for cyber criminals. State-sponsored actors and organized transnational networks, attacks on these systems can disrupt essential services, undermine national security, erode public trust, and inflict significant economic damage. It is therefore imperative that we move beyond reactive responses and adopt a proactive, intelligence-driven approach to cybersecurity. Cyber resilience is no longer optional, it is a national imperative. It requires the collective commitment of government, private sector, academia, and civil society. From the perspective of the Nigeria Police Force National Cybercrime, our mandate extends beyond enforcement. It encompasses prevention, collaboration, capacity building, and strategic foresight. Over the years, we have strengthened our operational capabilities in digital forensics, threat intelligence, and incident response. We continue to work closely with financial institutions, telecommunication providers, and international partners to combat cybercrime and dismantle criminal networks. However, the complexity of today's threat landscape demands even deeper collaboration and information sharing across actors. Artificial intelligence presents both a challenge and an opportunity in this regard. On one hand, malicious actors are increasingly leveraging AI to automate attacks, conduct sophisticated phishing campaigns, and evade detection. On the other hand, AI provides powerful tools for threat detection, predictive analytics, anomaly identification, and rapid response. In 2024, the center responded to a cyber activity report. And when operatives went there, you will be shocked. Just a couple of youths seated in a hotel room. And if you look at the quantum of attacks, the quantum of transactions they were generating, what were they using? AI. So in just a couple of minutes, you can see thousands of transactions happening. So it is already here in Nigeria. It is happening. As we look to the future, Nigeria must position itself to harness AI responsibly and strategically. This includes investing in research and development, fostering local talent, and developing regulatory frameworks that promote innovation while safeguarding national security and individual privacy. To build a truly resilient cyber ecosystem, the Inspector General of Police proposes the following strategic priorities. First, strengthening the protection of critical national infrastructure through robust cybersecurity frameworks, regular review of the national cybersecurity policy and strategy, risk assessments, and sector-specific security standards. Second, enhancing public-private partnership to ensure real-time information sharing, coordinated responses, and joint capacity development. Third, investing in human capital by developing a skilled cybersecurity workforce capable of addressing emerging threats and leveraging advanced technologies such as AI. Fourth, promoting digital literacy and awareness among citizens to reduce vulnerability to cyber threats. Fifth, regular review of legal and policy frameworks to keep pace with technological advancement and ensure effective prosecution of cyber criminals. The National Cybersecurity Coordination Center of the National Security Advisor working with all law enforcement and other stakeholders, are presently working seriously, that I can say for free, to make sure that the posture of our cybersecurity is strengthened to be resilient to cyber threats. The National Assembly is also working. You know that the Cybercrime Act 2015 was amended in 2024, and more amendments are coming. Distinguished participants, Nigeria stands at a pivotal moment in a digital journey. With the rapid growth of our digital economy, we have a unique opportunity to drive inclusive development, create jobs, and enhance national competitiveness. However, this growth must be anchored on a secure and resilient cyber environment. The NPF, NCCC, under IGP Olatunji Disu, remains committed to working with all stakeholders to safeguard our cyberspace, protect critical infrastructure, and support the growth of a secure digital economy. Together, we can build a future where technology serves as a force for driving prosperity, enhancing security, and improving the quality of life for all Nigerians. Finally, I urge all of us to move from dialogue to action. Let this conference serve not only as a platform for discussion, but as a catalyst for meaningful collaboration, innovation, and sustained commitment to cybersecurity excellence. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a productive and impactful conference.
Can we please celebrate AIG? Thank you so much, sir, for that beautiful section. AI, as we all know, is a tool. It's also a time bomb at this crucial place. Thank you, sir, for the awareness. As we are in this section, Alhaji Abdul Hakim Ajijola just walking. Can we please celebrate him? You are welcome, sir. So quickly, we'll be inviting the next speaker, and the person is the Minister of Communication, Innovation, and Digital Economy, the person of Dr. Bosun Tijani. Okay, Dr. Bosun Tijani is not yet in the building. So quickly, we'll move to the available speaker. A minute. Okay. We'll be inviting our Vice President and the person of Ms. Oluwatoni Falade. Ms. Oluwatoni, I think she's somewhere around. Ms. Oluwatoni should be coming on board to take this session while we move to the next agenda. So while waiting for Ms. Oluwatoni, during the masterclass session, the speaker asks a question. It asks how many people have what is called the elevator pitch. And I think only few hands are up. And he gave us an assignment that we should all go home and put together our elevator pitch. So elevator pitch is a 60-second pitch about yourself that you can tell somebody you probably run into while taking an elevator. So the person goes home with something striking about you. So again, I'll be asking the same question. How many of us have an elevator pitch about ourselves? So that's our take home. So while we wait for Ms. Oluwatoni Falade. Miss Oluwatoni Falade, over to you, ma.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Sorry, I've been busy everywhere. As the conference chair, I cannot sit until everyone is happy and seated. That's why they had to look for me to come up here. On behalf of the National Executive, the Board of Trustees of Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria, I'd like to use this opportunity to appreciate each and every one of you for registering for this conference. You all agree with me that the theme for the conference is timely, and as part of our contribution to cybersecurity in Nigeria, we have thought it best to develop capacity in whatever way we can. And that's why Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria have come up with this conference this year. I'd like to use this opportunity to appreciate our speakers. We have speakers from various countries. Yes, for some reason, some of them had to cancel, some from the United States, from Uganda, from Kenya, and other countries. Would like to use this opportunity to say thank you for taking time to fly to Nigeria to come share your knowledge with us. Also, I'd like to use this opportunity to appreciate our sponsors and partners. Thank you so much. We came knocking and you answered. Would like to appreciate First Bank for the opportunity, for sponsoring this event. We came to you and you did as well. Would also like to appreciate Black Box. Would like to appreciate Softman Limited, Digital Footprint, Ascendis, Mitigates, Pseudoforce, and every other person that we reached out to, and they supported us and partnered with this event. Finally, I'd like to appreciate every one of you seated in this room, every participant. You made this event what it is. Thank you for registering, and thank you for choosing Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria today. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President, for your wonderful speech. So quickly, we'll be moving to the first presentation, the first sponsor, and the person of Mr. Simeon Macho is the MD, Zendit Limited. Is Mr. Simeon in the building? Thank you, Mr. Simeon. Please can we celebrate him as he comes forward?
Good morning all. It's my real pleasure to be here, Mr. President. I think it's the 6th or 7th time we're attending the CSION conference. Before was under a previous name, ASECO Nigeria, which in 2024 became Accendit. I will not bore you with a long presentation or too many slides, but really being here every year is extremely important for us, because the Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria is really where we are building our digital sovereignty. And in this day and age, having this gathering is really for us extremely important in terms of formulating public-private dialogue on cybersecurity matters, and also, of course, recommendations. Maybe I'll hint at one towards the end of my the time that has been given to me. First of all, in the AI masterclass this morning, a brilliant masterclass. AI is not here per se to replace ethical hackers, pen testers. AI is a tool to actually assist pen test, and but it's a very, very potent and massive tool. So what does this mean? And I bring it down to cybersecurity experts. It means that humans are still at the core of cybersecurity, and we talk about humans, and that was also alluded by Mr. President in his address. Training and development of skills is paramount for quality of service. So just a few things to mention. I don't know if this is my elevator pitch. Actually, I wanted to ask the audience a question. Who in the audience has been hacked? But I see a few hands, and I would say that those that don't raise their hands are wrong. So whether it's you personally or your organization, you have already been hacked. We have all been hacked. We are being hacked permanently. So of when, it is a question of how, and how well are we prepared to defend ourselves and to face the threat. As I often say, and when face the threat. As I often say, and when we talk about the African context, so maybe a few things about me. I've been living in Nigeria for 15 years. Accended has been incorporated in 2014, so it's our 12 years now of existence. And like I mentioned before, IT company called Asseco, one of the top IT companies in Poland and Central and Eastern Europe. I was born in Poland, so actually, when you think about guests coming from abroad, I actually did come from Poland through France, where I spent some time, but that's for another day. And in 2014, we managed to do a management buyout to localize the company and to take over the company and be fully a Nigerian company. I've also recently actually applied for the Nigerian citizenship, so I hope that it will be granted to me, so that you will refer to me as your fellow citizen. Okay, but we very often look and the sector, right? MDAs, Nigerian Deputy IG. We shouldn't be afraid. We can do it, and we can do it together. So I will stop here, and once again, thank you very well. I mean, sincerely, for making it possible for us to be here. It's really our honor and our pleasure to be at the CISION annual conference, and we well, sorry, AIT, that wasn't on purpose. So we look forward to our engagements today and tomorrow as the conference continues. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Quickly, we'll be taking goodwill messages. We have about 4 speakers for that. For the goodwill message, I'll be starting with Alhaji Abdulhakeem Ajijola, the CEO, Consultancy Support System. Please welcome with me Alhaji Abdulhakeem Ajijola for his goodwill message.
Thank you very much, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all start by trying to do my own elevator pitch. My name is Abdulhakeem Ajijola, and despite by the way, you need to time it. Despite having a bald head, I wear many caps. One of them, as the MC has said, is chairing consultancy support services. I also chair the African Union Cybersecurity Expert Group, and I also chair the Institute of information privacy and protection. Thank you. So I hope I did that within the time allotted. Oh, I did make a few notes, so forgive me. So, good morning. I was invited to bring goodwill, but goodwill without honesty is just perfume on a wound. So here's the truth that I owe you. You are the most hunted professionals on this continent. Over 3,000 attacks per organization every week. This is rising relentlessly. And the world expects you to defend everything with almost nothing. Executives call you a cost. Governments digitize without securing you. Global vendors sell you black boxes they will not let you inspect. And still, you show up. That is not just professionalism, that is courage. We have watched young Nigerians work 72 hours shifts, stopping ransomware that would have shut down critical organizations. We have seen Kenyans rebuild payment rails while under fire. Indeed, we have watched Rwandans architect identity systems that serve millions on a budget that would not buy coffee for a Silicon Valley team. You are not behind. You are not emerging. You are indeed the front line. And here is my goodwill. I believe in you more than I believe in any vendor, any government, and certainly any foreign partner. But belief is not enough. You must believe in yourselves. And you must believe in yourselves and do three things. One, stop waiting for permission. Security is not given, it is taken. Two, stop importing answers. The threat knows your streets, your languages, your politics. Build defenders who also know this. Three, stop accepting invisible leashes. You deploy that you cannot inspect, cannot control, cannot shut off. That is not security. That is submission. You are the generation that will decide whether Africa is digitally sovereign or digitally colonized. There is no middle ground, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. So my goodwill to you is simple. Do not ask for a seat at the table. Build your own table. Load it with African talent and refuse to eat anyone else's scraps. The world is watching. The adversary is testing. And you are just getting started. So thank you. Now, defend like your future depends on it, because truly it does. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alhaji Ajijola. Defend like your Alhaji Ajijola. Defend like your future depends on it. Do not ask for a seat at the table. Build one and hold it. We celebrate you, sir. So quickly, next for the goodwill message, we'll be calling Dr. Edagba Bagbar Ehosa Elijah, representing Dr. Aisha Bala. Do we have Dr. Egoasa Elijah in the building? Please celebrate him as a comfort. Thank you so much, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Not to take our time so much, standing on the existing protocol. Thank you very much I want to appreciate the organizers for organizing this critical and very much important event for Nigeria. I am standing here for Dr. Aisha Bala Mohammed, the wife of the executive
governor of Bauchi State, Kaura Bauchi. She's unavoidably absent, so I have to represent her as one of her staffs in our Center for Education, Al-Muhiba Open University, the Dean of the Postgraduate Schools. Cybersecurity has come to stay. And I'm very sure there will be never end to it. Security will continually be Nigeria's challenge and the world at large. But we always need people who will mitigate against every form of threat. And that could not happen if there are no persons trained to mitigate against them. And so, on behalf of her, who is very, very committed to education, she's very committed, and one of the faculties of Al-Muhiba Open University is Faculty of Computing, where students are being trained for cybersecurity. And at this event, I believe that this event will not only produce listeners, because the very big problem, as an academician I am, the very big problem of conferences, workshop, is that when we finish, we all disappear and do nothing. And so, coming here again, we are back here to do the same thing without any result. And I hope CSHAN will not do the same thing, that whatsoever is being discussed should be put to work. Follow-up should be done, so that whatsoever the purpose, the reason for setting up such a high magnitude conference, it shall be established. Because we are talking about making laws, Nigeria is part of it, making laws, but one thing sure is that we don't follow it up. And I think the IG representative make mention of that. We must follow it up. Lay up a blueprint for whatsoever it is that we are dealing with, cybercrime, whatsoever it is, and follow it up. So I want to plead with the president and his team that whatsoever is being done in this conference should not just end here talking. It should be about putting to work. There are bright minds and all. They are tools to be used to mitigate against threats if they can be trained and harnessed. Thank you very much. And I say thank you, organizers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Herosa. Don't just build system, follow it up and make sure it's working. Thank you, sir. So next we'll be calling for the good message. We'll be calling Brigadier General J.H. Bauer. Can we please celebrate him as he comes forward for his good message?
I am not learned, so please pardon her for that. When I got the invitation to come here, I was wondering, how did they get my name? How do they know? Because I am humbly somewhere. We'll be talking about elevation here. I am Hassan Bauer, by the grace of God, a Brigadier General in Nigerian Army. When I passed out from Nigerian Defense Academy, 1997, we took an oath, and the oath said to serve land, sea, and air. But I don't know if it has been amended now, but it must have been amended because we have added 2 domains. The space, and then what? The cyberspace, which those 4 can be defined, we see them. But the cyberspace, there's no boundary. Am I right? No buffer zone. It is who is stronger that beats the other. So it is survival of the fittest. we are just learners. We have been, from the speeches I've heard, we'll be hearing of attacks here, attacks there, attack here, and there. Well, maybe we should be expecting our own soon, since we are what? Developing. I think we are just 5 years old into this thing called cyber domain. And we are working tirelessly, we are working hard. What we do in my place, I am the commandant of the Cyber Warfare School. What we do in my place is that we look for scenarios, issues, situations out there and bring them to try them, to test them, and see if we can prepare against them. One challenge we have, I used to tell people, anywhere I go, I say, we have the responsibility to fight war, right? You may not have, but you have something that we don't have. You have the know-how. We don't have the know-how. So if we are faced with this challenge, you may not, with your know-how, you may not be able to do anything because you don't have the responsibility. Am I correct? But I that have the responsibility without the know-how cannot help you. And so we keep talking about collaboration. That we need to collaborate with us. And it is because of that, our coming workshop next month, precisely, I've decided to look for people that will come and talk to us and ginger us and open our eyes to those things that we need to know. We have been talking about AI. We've been hearing of machine learning and all these things. And what work do they do for us as military men? It helps us in what? What do you call it? Intelligence and early warnings. If we are well informed about the AI and how we use it and employ it in our operations, the counter-terrorist and counter-insurgency operation that is ongoing, you know, that one, you cannot say who is who, because the people you are fighting with are not professional army, so you don't even know. He may be among you. The person will just pass you now, but he is equipped. But if we have these tools, the AI tools, I think we'll be able to gather intelligence. And because what we learned that the machine learning study the behavior of persons and then predict what the person is likely going to do next. So we will be able to predict when these people are likely going to what? Come for attack, lay ambushes, because the machine will have learned everything and told us and will be informing us. And why am I saying this? That we need you guys to collaborate with us and give us these tools or empower us with these tools so that we will be able to help you secure your properties. Because if we are if we are empowered, we will keep those people at bay before they come close. May God bless us. As we deliberate, please, just as the last speaker said, let it not just end here, but let's carry it along. And let the implementation start immediately after the conference. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you so much, General Power. Effective collaboration is essential for maintaining a secured digital system across borders, across industry. We celebrate you, sir. Thank you for that beautiful goodwill message. Gradually, we'll be coming to the end of the morning session. So before we do this, we'll be taking the national anthem, we'll be taking the group photograph, then we'll be going out for the exhibition and the meal break. Thank you. So national anthem, the media team. National anthem, can we please be fit?
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve a sovereign motherland.
Thank you so much. So it's time for the group photograph. The media team will be helping us with that, after which we'll be going out for the exhibition and the meal break. So please remember, during the exhibition, don't forget your elevator pitch. It is a period of networking. Network, meet people. Again, let's build a platform for collaboration. My name again is Remi Ogunkoya, and I'm your moderator for today. Thank you. So firstly, we start with every of our guests of honor. All our guests of honor. All our guests of honor, please, ma'am. Can we please have every of our guests of honor for the first photograph? Mr. President, your attention is needed here, please. Mr. Olabode Agbola, please, your attention is needed. Okay, thank you. We'll be having 3 sessions for this, so can we have us split? For the first set of participants, we can please come and join the guest of honor. The first 10 people to come out, or the first 20 people to come out. Then we'll take another batch, and then another batch, then another batch. Please, our guest of honors, our participants are taking pictures. We are still having the pictures. The first set of the participants are joining our guest of honor. So our guest of honor should please still hold on. Don't return to your seat yet. Please still hold on. Okay, please, we can also move up. We can move up as many people. We can move up. Can we have more people join? Go to the podium, as many people as possible. Please up, yeah. You can contain as many people as possible. Hello, ma'am. Everybody, okay. So everybody should please join in having just one session. Please make sure you appear. Let a part of you come out from the picture. The meeting with the arrangement. Some people there are not showing at all. Please, the media, are we fine? Hello? Hello? Photographer, are we fine? You capture everybody? See, are you going to capture everybody? Are you sure?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what arrangement are you giving us?
Let them,
Sorry.
just for them to spread out.
Okay, we need people on this side to please spread out. According for the, just spread out. We don't want a cough setting. For the, just spread out. We don't want a cough setting. Just spread out so that the photographer will be able to. Sorry, ma'am. That's a good one. So again, we are open to networking. The photo session is over. So connect, exchange contacts, collaborate, and we can move out for the meal break.
VIP tour exhibition.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, for the exhibition. Have I announced
Not
it?
never come.
Eh? Lunch never come. Are you for it?
Like,
Okay, yeah, so.
lunch never come.
Okay, so our exhibition booths are open. What can we all also move down to the exhibition booth?
What organization did you come with? I remember. These people are calling 1 minute.
What's the duration of the break? 1 hour?
For lunch is not even here. Even one declare. So when will they do long? It's together education as
Exhibition and the break is together.
How long do we have? So we should just wait till the lunch is here. No. We have time. There's time. When is the next session supposed to be? What time?
Lunch is supposed to be by 12. So we have 30 minutes. So what will be happening within that 12?
Network. So they just want exhibition. Once they go for exhibition tour,
They can't
come back. So let them do networking. Then you can exhibition tour for VIP.
Exhibition already.
You have to call them out.
So exhibition and meals is 1 hour, 12 to 1 p.m.
That's all we have here.
Let them network. It's not here. Because you can't scatter it now.
Network, they have to come out.
They have to come out. Maybe are now supposed to come and get their tag and what if the tag is not that.
Yes. Those who don't have time, come and sort their time. Maybe
Yeah.
use the opportunity with something whatever.
But I think they should know what's happening. That because we finished earlier, the lunch is not ready for us.
Okay. So all of this should happen for 30 minutes.
Yeah, while we
30
get
minutes?
ready for lunch,
Yes.
they should just get their tag, network.
Do we have those tags?
They should
Now,
sort
we won't talk about that. I won't talk about that.
no, because they promise them that they will get their tag. So they
No, I didn't mention. Excellent afternoon, distinguished guests, our speakers, and our participants. Once again, my name is Remi Ogunkoya, and I welcome you specially to Cyber Secure Nigerian Conference 2026. Welcome back from the break. We apologize for the delay in the tea break. Our vendors will be here in a few minutes. But in the meantime, chill bottles of waters are being served, so you don't have to go out for that. They'll bring them right in. Thank you. So quickly, we'll be moving to the first panel session. And our moderator for this session is Patricia Eremosel. Do we have Ms. Patricia in the building? So we're discussing cyber resilience and the protection of critical national infrastructure. You are welcome, Ms. Patricia. Please have your seat. So she's going to be the moderator for this session. We'll be discussing cyber resilience and the protection of critical national infrastructure. So our panelists will be Ms. Chinenye Chizia. Do we have her in the building? Ms. Chinenye, please, let's celebrate her as she makes her way forward. We have Mr. Olatunji Igbalajobi. Mr. Olatunji Igbalajobi, I've seen him once or twice. Okay, Mr. Olatunji is around. I've seen him once or twice. Please kindly help me call his attention that is needed here. We have Mr. Robinson Tombari. Mr. Robinson Tombari, please. Thank you, sir. We have Mr. Uzuma Ikeweta. Thank you, sir. Please celebrate him as he makes his way forward. Then we have Mr. Ozo Omisigbo. Mr. Ozo, we celebrate you, sir. So, Patricia, over to you.
I know. Don't worry. The questions are evenly spread. Good afternoon, everyone. And you're welcome to the first. I like the sound of my voice, but I don't like how this is, actually. Okay, you're welcome to the first panel session where we'll be talking about, securing our critical national infrastructure. One of the things I always say as the president of Women in Cybersecurity Nigeria affiliate, the human resource is a very important critical national infrastructure, especially the women. So women are part of the critical national infrastructure. Now that we've said that, let me go on to what I am here to do. I'm excited to have my distinguished panel here. So I've been told to move to the middle so that I can just navigate back and forth. Chine, do you want to? Awesome. Thank you. So, and does everyone have their mics right now? Right. Awesome. Let me just give a little, very short synopsis. I had a long one, but I'm going to say this because we've already established through our goodwill messages, through our speeches, that we need to be resilient, right? So cyber resilience is both a technical aspiration and a national imperative. It is the difference between disruption and continuity, between vulnerability and trust, between reactive defense and strategic readiness. So as we begin, I invite you to think about this. Resilience is not a product, and it's not a one-time investment. It is a continuous commitment, one that requires coordination, foresight, and trust across borders and sectors. So with this, let's discuss how Africa, Nigeria, can secure its critical infrastructure and future-proof it. I'm just going to jump right into the questions, and this has to do, go to Mr. Adekboju Emmanuel. Is he here today? He's not here. All right. We will just skip over to Mr. Tunji Igbalajobi. Well done. Nice to meet you, sir. So I'm going to start with foreign-built industrial control systems, ICS, and ICS platforms introduce supply chain vulnerabilities, including hidden backdoors, firmware manipulation, and remote access exploits. Mr. Tunji, how do supply chain risks in foreign manufactured ICS systems threaten Africa's critical infrastructure? And what policies or technical controls can reduce dependency and strengthen operational trust?
Thank you so much. Supply chain attack is one of the very, very, not even an imagined attack now within African space due to the fact that most of IoT system, both the IT and the OT operational systems that we make use of are not locally developed. And oftentimes, most of those tools, this solution comes with what we call security in ab initio. And what does that mean is that from the get-going, you can ascertain the trust level, that some of those tools are actually coming with. And because it's a supply chain attack, there is a chance that it can actually move laterally from one organization to another organization because of the fact that these systems are actually communicating, within different sectors. So one thing is this, there is absolutely no way for us in Africa to really start discussing the issue of, because one thing is this, we can't throw away some of these solutions entirely, right? But then there must be a very coordinated effort from government to really understand what you actually, are bringing into the country. And that's where SOHEN actually play a very, very big role, started operation of Nigeria this on. And, in the recent time, there has been some coordinated effort from them to really identify how do we bring in product into this country, in a manner whereby we don't get ourselves compromised. One, because you have to look at the issue of patching. Sometimes some of these systems don't have, local environment where you can easily just patch them. The firmware systems, sometimes their data is not even residing within the country. So it has a lot of impact on us as an Africa. And I think it is high time we start having conversation around building a local content. You see, one thing I've seen in Africa is that it is good for us to start talking about local content. But when it comes to building these solutions to what can actually compete within the global sectors, we don't get to have funds. The fundings are extremely patient. There are there are things that cannot in any way move us forward. So by doing so, we continue to rely on importing both IT and OT systems within with that SCADA or ICS environment. And you're beginning to realize that some of these solutions, they don't tend to actually meet our operational need within our own sectors and within our own continent, right? Most of them are not fit to use for our own environment because they are not meeting our own peculiarity. But then, I mean, we have to resolve to making use of something. So most of the time, in fact, most organizations even go to actually adopt some of this technology without conducting what we call a need assessment, not doing a thorough security checking, doing a proper POC to even understand what are the underlying risks. What are the vulnerabilities that, this can actually introduce to our environment? How do we ensure that we segment our IT and OT environment? But I mean, what is important for us as a takeaway is this: for us to be able to manage supply chain attack, within our space, we need to first of all understand how do we bring in those tools into our environment. Are we doing a quality check on them? Can we validate that they cannot introduce known and unknown threats to our environment? If the threat is going to actually emerge, what is going to be the impact? And because most of these tools we are talking about has a lot to do with critical national infrastructure. So it has to be a collaboration of both continents and ensure that we are leaving no stone unturned when we're actually adopting our foreign use manufactured product. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To add to that, when Alhaji Ajijola gave his goodwill, he talked about that and said we should build our systems or ensure whatever systems we adopt they support our own environment. I'm so sorry. There's something I did not do when I started. We have a distinguished panel here, but I would like them to introduce themselves before they speak. So can you please kindly introduce yourself to our lovely audience?
I'm Olatunji Matuigbarajobi. I'm a member of the Cybersecurity Association of Nigeria, a fellow member as well, and member of the board of the association as well. I'm a Chief Information Security Officer in a fintech company, and I also carry out a consulting service for corporate organization who is in need of information security assurance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to head over to Robinson Tombari, who is seated right beside me patiently. He will introduce himself, and then I can ask him the questions that we have for him.
Thank you very much. Dr. Robinson Sibe, the CEO and lead forensic examiner of Digital Footprints Nigeria Limited. Besides doing that, I also in the academia as well, so I'm privileged to be in both spaces, which is very crucial. I'm very delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tombari. So let's go into this. The aging national power grids across Africa face increased cyber-physical threats as digitization outpaces security modernization, creating exploitable gaps in grids, in grid automation and remote management systems. So the question is, how does the modernization gap in Africa, in Africa's power grids, expose them to cyber-physical attacks? And what modernization priorities are essential to secure grid automation and remote operations?
Thank you very much. If you listened very carefully, the question did carry aspects of the answer. The first being that the grids were built at the time even the word cybersecurity did not exist. Even information security was scarcely used at the time. So unfortunately, we now have grids built in 1970s and 1980s, now being ruthlessly plugged to a 2026 attack surface that is not smiling at anybody. So that leaves a very big gap. And if you look at even the protocols that were in place for which these grids were built on, did not envisage that someone would be in the premises that was not authorized to be in the premises. So it was largely built around physical security. But today, the modernization, which includes things like the metering systems and all of the telemetry related things that go on around that space, all the smart modernization now introduces new risk that was not anticipated. So protocols such as DNP3, protocols such as Modbus, even the IEC 6850 were protocols that were built around somebody not being able to have access to a particular space when it's not supposed to be there. So that gap is there, and how do we now, which is the crux of the question, how do we get out of that situation? Number one would be security by design, and I think the first speaker did hint in that direction as well. And how do you ensure security by design for something that's already designed? So that's also another thing, but you are doing modernization. So every aspect of your modernization has a design component. And what are the things you need to look out for? Things like network segmentation, because when you integrate IT, OT environment and there is a flat space, it allows for easy lateral movement, which makes these things spread faster. So that is a very critical part of it. Also, other hardening of the system, having a robust patch management system. And when I mean hardening of the system, there are solutions like one which we represent, which is also was built for critical national infrastructure such as this, and particularly even in air-gapped environments where, which most of the grids are, where you do not have the opportunity to do routine signature, routine updates, live updates of operating systems. And apart from that, there's a big challenge, which from my forensic background, I know from the experiences trying to respond to system, most of the time the logs are lost before you get to site. And that doesn't give you any opportunity to reconstruct what happened, to answer the questions of who, what, when, and why, where, and how. So this has to be put in place. So forensic by design also, which means that you have to have grids that are designed to have efficient and effective logging, because if an incident happens and there are no lessons learned, it's bound to happen again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I imagine the first two people in the room, not this room, where they connected the internet and connected two computers to speak to each other. I doubt they had any idea about frameworks, about CSAN, that we'll be having conferences like this, talking about security and stuff, and talking about forensics by design. But this is where we are right now. And yes, security by design is essential. We need to look at risk-based way of, designing things. So thank you very much for that, Mr. Tombari. My panel to feel left out now, so I'm going to come to her, Ms. Chineye Chiza. Can you kindly introduce yourself?
My name is Chineye Chiza. As way of introduction, I'm a cybersecurity professional, and I enjoy being around my colleagues either here on stage or there with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Interestingly enough, we were talking about the same thing last week in another event about critical national infrastructure, meaning this is very important for us to know, to understand, to discuss. Ms. Chineye, my question goes to you as follows. With the rapid expansion of private sector data centers without harmonized national standards, creates uneven resilience levels, exposing essential services to outages and cyber attacks. So how can African governments harmonize data center resilience standards to ensure consistent protection of critical national infrastructure while supporting the private sector growth?
Questions like this. Okay, I think I'll piggyback on what we've been talking about, which is really about resilience. And if you listen to Dr. Tombari when he said about the retrofitting security into something that wasn't designed when the word cybersecurity did not exist. And I think this is more or less the kind of challenge that we have across Africa and in Nigeria. Some African nations are more developed, some have moved on, and some are working towards it. So we do know that power is a challenge for us here. I'm speaking of locally here in Nigeria. Power is a challenge. And with the power challenge, it is easy for businesses to let someone else take that aspect of their business when that's where these data centers come in. Before now, we used to have co-location, shared racks somewhere, and now there are industry standards that define types of data centers, and businesses can now choose, pay for whatever it is that they want. So how do we harmonize? I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. I believe that there are standards out there already that have defined security principles and remediation controls. There are basically, if we look at the uptime that has defined the data center tiers, it basically speaks to what the data center should have to qualify in that tier, and then the certification happens. So locally, what we can do, if NIDA is here, maybe we can consider adapting some of these things that already exist. But my challenge with adapting frameworks and speaking about it is we have brilliant cybersecurity professionals here in Nigeria, and we'll come to a room, we'll come together, we will draft fantastic frameworks and guidelines and policies, and then implementation is where we all go to sleep. So if we look at Nigeria's documentation when it comes to any kind of framework, it is fantastic. It is like close to what it should be out there. But then when it comes to implementation, that there is where the challenge is. So how will the government support or promote those that are already players there? I'm not really good with taxing and tax incentives, but I think those are little ways that we can use to support the data center providers. And also, maybe we should do like a reward system. Maybe we should have like, okay, if you have this data center with great hypervisor for different government critical infrastructure, then you need to have extra security controls. Then you need to show us how you bounce back from interruptions, because the interruptions would happen. You can have 99.9. Do we ever have that? Does anyone give you an SLA of 99.9% uptime? I doubt it. But I mean, we can define we can define SLAs that would work for us. And when you say work for us, it's like homegrown. Once we have that in place, and I say this, I don't know if NIDA is in the room, because I feel it falls on NIDA to start that discussion around, yes, we as experts are talking about it, but that is the government body that is supposed to do something about this. So if that discussion starts, then there's the challenge that always happens with over-regulation and operation. So the thinking around this is, while we are adapting whatever exists out there, let's not be so stringent. Let's make it usable in such a way that the data center operators and the SMEs will benefit from this homegrown security control framework that we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Something I always say is, instead of adapting things from other places, we need to see how it works within our own environment, which is what Chineye is talking about. How to ensure that our culture, our behaviors, our languages, the way we operate is part of the frameworks, is part of the policies. And she's calling on NIDA as well. Is NIDA here? I hope they are. Another thing you mentioned, which I think has been hammered on in the first session of this, was we should ensure that, pardon? Oh, okay. which will ensure that it's not just having conversations, but implementing what happens after. So with that, thank you, Ms. Chineye. I'm going to move on to Mr. Izuna Ikwete. Can you kindly introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Izuna Ikwete, and I have over a decade experience in technology industry, from IT operation, cybersecurity, and currently I serve as a group data privacy and protection officer, and also head the IT GRC team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ikwete. I learned when you said that. Thank you. So I'm just going to ask, like, with critical infrastructure operators, often lack unified incident reporting framework, resulting in fragmented visibility and delayed national level response to cyber disruptions. So how does the absence of unified incident reporting frameworks weaken national cyber resilience? And what models can African states adopt to improve coordinated response across critical sectors? I think this is a piggyback on what Chineye has already said. So we would like to hear from you in this instance.
Okay, let's start first. What is incident response? Let's see how important it is. I see it as coordinated visibility, because I believe we have professionals here and we practice incident response, and we have the framework within our respective organizations. So we identify, detect, contain, and so all of them, post response, and what we have learned after the incident had happened. And you would agree with me that without an incident response framework within our organizations or our country or nation, then there is a big gap. But we are not saying there is none. All we are saying is they are fragmented, because we have the financial institution. We've heard a lot of breach, a lot of attack in the financial sector happening. And the surprising thing is the same pattern keeps replicating for each bank, and it keeps happening. So we have seen that if we can't get a unified standard, if we can't ensure that we have something everyone can buy into. Example, the NDPC, they have given us a standard to report data breach. So what is the standard? Reports after between 72 hours and so on. Now, what is cyber security saying within our country? Do we have a standard for reporting? Do we have a timeline? Do we have a centralized system? So all these are problems that we keep getting. And if we can't have this in place, then we keep seeing these attacks repeating itself all over again. We keep falling prey to them. Now, what are the solutions? What can we do as a nation to ensure we eliminate these fragmented aspects of incident reporting? One, can we build a centralized cyber hub or cyber center where every sector plugs into? Can we begin to dictate a standard for reporting? 1 to 6 hours or 1 to 3 hours, major incidents. Maybe 24 hours, minor incidents, and so on. Can we do something like that? Can we push that as a regulatory law? Next, you can't protect what you don't know. What does incident response help you to do? It helps you understand who is attacking me. How is this person doing it? What does this person want? These are what it helps you realize. Now you want to protect what you don't have information about. So the moment we are able to consolidate, we are able to unify, have a system that unifies reporting, have a central hub, then everybody plugs into, oh, the oil and gas, we had an attack. It came in this format, we report. That system analyzes it. Oh, the banking sector, we had an attack. It came in this part. Let's analyze it and inform others. So a unified system helps proper information, proper alertment. We are alert, we are aware, and we take the proper steps to ensure we curb all these threats. What else can we do? We can also implement artificial intelligence. Just like our Brigadier General said, how are we utilizing this for predictive analytics, abnormality, and so on? How do we plug in artificial intelligence to understand the environment, ensure that these are really detected real time and on the go? So in all of this, having fragmented incident response framework has not helped at all, because we keep seeing the attack repeatedly. So we need to begin to ask our question, how can we come together? We have standards, we have framework already in the global sector. Just like my colleagues have said, how can we make it suit our environment, ensure it works for us, and ensure we abide by it? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ikwete. So you are asking for standardization, you're asking to break down silos, and you're asking that everyone feeds into a central point. Thank you very much for that. But I think I will also ask you, you don't have to answer this, doesn't that bring 1 point of failure when we do that? No, it's just a question. With every solution, there's always a challenge as well. So that's just something that came to me. I'm going to move on to Mr. Ozo. Please kindly introduce yourself, and I will get on with the next question.
Okay, sure. Hello, everyone. So my name is Ozo Omosiho. I'm a cybersecurity consultant. I work in a company that is cybersecurity first called 6030. And I think we're specializing in cybersecurity abroad and also Nigeria.
No, please go ahead.
Okay. Yes, so we've been specializing in cybersecurity both home and abroad. Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ozo. So let me jump right into the question that I have for you. And I'm hoping these are not PhD questions, right? They're just regular questions, I'm hoping. You know, with Africa's growing reliance on interconnected critical infrastructure, as it increases exposure to cascading failures when one system is compromised, which is what I was asking you, especially in energy, telecoms, and transport sectors, how does interdependence across Africa's critical infrastructure sectors increase systemic cyber risk? And what resilience strategies can governments adopt to prevent cascading failures during cyber incidents?
Okay, yeah, they're PhD questions. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good question. It's also a very relevant question because we're talking about, you know, national critical infrastructure. I think it's almost like a, you know, there are two sides to it. There's a positive side and there's a negative side. So I think, for example, what you're highlighting is the negative side and how things can cascade. Certainly, when you interconnect systems, then what you do is, you're pretty much putting in place systems that can allow information move from one place to the next, or data move from one place to the next, and then you get quality output out of that, right? So there's serious value in having connected systems, and we're seeing the benefits, right? We're talking about digital economies. We're talking about how we can expand Nigeria, how we can grow our GDP. And again, being able to provide digital services expands that net. So there is value in that connectivity. This is across board. Now, if we look specifically at critical national infrastructure, the same holds, right? There's significant value that you can get from being able to have connected systems in such a way you can get insights happening in one sector and you get insights in another sector because of that connectivity. So there's significant value. But if it's poorly implemented, then it poses a significant risk. And I think that when we're talking about, we are getting more visibility as a country. We are building our digital infrastructure, and as time goes on, threat actors will continue to get more interested in the Nigerian space. So if we think that currently what we're seeing is the top level, if we think that what we're seeing are the most sophisticated attacks, the reality is that that's not yet the case. So we definitely need to be more expectant. And as a result of that, we need to ask these important questions. So it's important that, yes, we understand the value of that connectivity, but we now obviously need to put in place better architected systems. We need to put in place better capacity. We need capacity development. Because if you look at the different individual systems, they need to be supported. Even if you have connectivity, a number of these entities are still exist in themselves. Lots of conversations have been had about frameworks and the need to adopt standards. A lot of this needs to be driven, and it needs to be holistic. And I know that the NSA is doing a lot of work in this regard. But I think that, of course, there's a whole lot to do, right? We need to have these standards, and the standards need to apply across board. If we're defining critical national infrastructure and we're defining certain sectors that we consider to fall under critical national infrastructure, then the same standard has to apply to all. Because the weakest link is what is going to make the house crumble. So we cannot apply certain standards in one sect and ignore the rest. Significant standardization needs to happen. We need more effective monitoring. We need more engagement. So I think as a whole, there is a lot more that needs to be done. Standardization is key, but it needs to cut across board. We have the CNNI order, which was put in place in relation to what is considered critical national infrastructure. And that has been expanded. If you look at the list, a list of a number of sectors on there fall under national critical infrastructure. But if you look at the depth and quality of security controls, you will see that we have strength in certain areas. For example, the financial sector, the banking sector, a lot of effort has been put on trying to secure that sector. And of course, CBN is doing a lot. But if CBN is maintaining standards by itself, then what happens to the other sectors that are equally critical national infrastructure? So we need to think more holistically. We need to get more parties involved. We need to apply standardization across board. And we need to, as a unit, understand the importance of this because of the impact of what could happen when we have serious breaches by serious threat actors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ozo. I appreciate that. So at the end of the day, we need the sectors to learn from each other. With AI right now, data generated from one sector can even be used to analyze data or what can attack another sector. So sincerely, I like that statement that you made in terms of ensuring that we should learn from each sector. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to come right back to Mr. Tombari. He's been patiently waiting for me here. With telecommunications infrastructure, as it's increasingly weaponized during political and military tensions, with attacks aimed at disrupting national communications and emergency coordination, How can African nations secure telecom infrastructure against targeted disruption during political or military tensions? And what redundancy models ensure continuity of national communications? You can get some expo from Brigadier General Bauer as well. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. I almost forgot that I had a microphone by me. Yeah, interesting question, especially because we are in an electoral season. And the last time we had an election, there was a press conference that said that there were millions of attempted breaches. I can't get the figure in my head, which was really scary. These things will happen, and that's the reality of it. It's happening elsewhere. And it's not new here. We follow the Russo-Ukrainian war, and mostly we see tanks on television, but the greater battle is being fought in the cyberspace. Even in the industrial domain, which is the CNI domain, we have had things like Industria and Industria 2 and other attacks that has happened in that space. So coming back to the question and to Nigeria, yes, it will happen, and to Africa, not just Nigeria, but what are we doing to protect ourselves or the critical national infrastructure of the continent? First, the thing is, and our moderator whispered to me if I was in telecoms, because the question coming was telecoms. And unfortunately, in cybersecurity consulting, you have to be a jack of all trade and master of small things, you know. So in this regard, yes, network hardening have been signaled. Time is up. So network hardening, same principles that we apply, but this time in telecommunications, which is good old practice of network segmentation, good old practice of encryption, and all other basic good best practices in that regard. But beyond that, also there has to be, if we look at the redundancy options, there's a lot to say, but I'm trying to be conscious of time. The redundancy options, you know, the thing with telecommunication infrastructure is that it's at the heart of every other thing. Your banking sector, your military operations, your everything depends or relies on telecommunications. And then some little thing can bring everything down. For instance, a fishing trolley might cut a fiber cable and an entire nation goes down. So what do we do to avoid that? You know, you have to have multiple points, you know, multiple layered redundancy, even in switching, and even things like you travel abroad, you roam your line, you can have national roaming contracts. For instance, if telecoms provider A goes down, can their operators roam their line on another? So creative things like that. And then these are at the corporate space and the national space. Also I've heard a lot of the participants and also the, distinguished panelists mention the great work that has been done at NCCC and the ONSA. I have been part of some of those processes which brought critical national infrastructure players together, not just to one-way traffic, but to actually build capacity. So that has to continue. And also from a regional point of view and a continental point of view, you can be very strong as a nation. You can have all your T's crossed and I's dotted, but then your fiber cable is passing through Cote d'Ivoire, for instance, and the line gets cut somewhere down the line. So it could also be out of your own hands. So which means that as a continent, we have to come together, build regional capacity and also build continental capacity. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I have been nudged to round up, but I would like to hear one last note or message from all my distinguished speakers. You know, everyone has been saying, okay, we're here, we speak, implementation, what next, right? I always say, what if we didn't do anything at all? No conferences, nothing. We will not even move the needle at all, right? So these things are important, but I'm going to ask my speakers, what next? They've asked us implementation. 30 seconds, 60 seconds. You can even say there's nothing next. That's okay, because you could believe that, right? So please, let's start with
All right, thank you. What next? What
30
next?
and 60
What
seconds.
next is resilience by design. You know, that's what is next. If you don't build resilience by design, we are not going to move forward. And again, we also have to ensure that our sectorial industry, I mean, for the sectorial SAT, let's not leave it to only financial industry alone. A lot is going on within energy industry, transportation industry. A lot is going on, and I can't begin to say some of the things that I've also, been involved in recently. There is a national campaign against Nigerian cyber. National campaign against Nigeria. Our cyberspace, and we all have to ensure that we pull our hands on deck and ensure we help corporate organizations protect themselves against this national infiltration. Thank you.
Okay, from my end, I would say, are we ready to collaborate? Sectors, transport, finance, energy sector, can we collaborate together? Can we begin to harness the potentials of AI to analyze our data and give us something more refined we can work with? Then second, capacity development. Do we have enough manpower, enough trained personnel to mount this journey? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll just give a very simple, non-technical advice, but very crucial, which is need for cybersecurity awareness. We are here, we're all very aware people here, but the real thing is, can this 50, 100 persons here carry on this message or carry on this task? No. So we need to do a lot more on that. There's a proverb, I think, a quote that says that I freed 10,000, I could have freed 1 million more if they knew they were slaves. So if we if we build a citizenry that is very cyber aware, it will translate to resilience. Thank you.
So I think they've said it all. I think we have all the frameworks to start with. They might not be where we want it to be, but we have something to start with. The National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy document of 2021 clearly spelled out the incident response for cybersecurity, but no one is reporting any incident. So that then goes back to our capacity building. Are the people aware? And when they are aware, what process is happening within my own local organization? Let's forget what's happening in the other sector. Within my sector, how am I applying what it is that has been written as a guide for us to do our normal operations? There's, I just saw something about a 1979 IBM that says a computer should not be allowed to make a decision. And that is where we should be. It doesn't matter how fantastic our systems are, whether it's critical, whether it's your everyday work system, the system should not guide. We as individuals, our workforce and our capacity needs to be built and very aware to take up the challenge of resilience. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to be the last speaker because they've said it all. But two key things: awareness, organizational awareness, and organizational capacity development for organizations that fall within the critical national infrastructure sectors. That, to me, is priority.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, the key is building resilience. I want to thank all my speakers here today. My name is Patricia Eramosele, and thank you for listening to us, and thank you for having me as your moderator for this panel.
Please round up applause for our panelists. Then our moderators, we celebrate you. That's a beautiful job done there. Again, the word collaboration came up the second time today. So whatever your purpose is here, how do you channel collaboration into it? Thank you so much for that amazing section. We celebrate you. So quickly, we'll be moving to the second presentation for today. Water are being served. Again, the meal tickets has been given to everyone. Can we all confirm that? So immediately after the second session, our vendors are right there. We'll be moving out to have a lunch break. Thank you. So the second presentation today is cybersecurity governance, regulation, and compliance in Africa. Cybersecurity governance, regulation, and compliance in Africa. Taking us on this presentation is no other person than Mrs. Abiola Ogunbiade. Mrs. Abiola, can we please celebrate her as she makes her way up here? Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I'd like to thank CISA for this opportunity. All protocol observed. My name is Abiola Agumbiade. I work in OT governance, and I'm a cybersecurity expert. So we've been talking about building resilience, and there's no how we'll talk about building resilience without talking about governance, regulation, and compliance. Those are the key things in cybersecurity. So today we'll be talking about, generally, we see how the cybersecurity fronts in Nigeria, for instance, have grown over the years. We're seeing digital maturity across our immigration system. You go to the airport these days, you scan your passport and you just move through. I was really surprised seeing that, really. I don't know how many people have seen that recently. I was really surprised seeing that. You go to the airport, scan your passport, and you just go through. You don't have to go through immigration signing and all that. That is a very big development. You want your international passport, you see that right there at your desk, and you can apply for it online and you get it. All these are very fantastic. But without security in place, we are exposing ourselves basically to a lot of, we're going to expose ourselves to a lot of ransomware, a lot of data breaches, and also infrastructural attack. That is where we now say that the issue of Africa being a digital country is no longer the issue of Africa organization that needs cybersecurity is no longer the point, but how do we govern these aspects of growth around cybersecurity? In governing this part of strength, what we will look at basically is we'll look at the policies in place. We'll look at policies, we'll look at standards, and we'll look at regulation, and also we'll look at governance. Standards are frameworks that are put in place to ensure that things are exactly the way it should be. And then we have policies that we must follow along with this standard. And then governance is ensuring that these standards are being followed accordingly. And then compliance is ensuring that we are being compliant. How risk adverse is Africa to these frameworks that we have? African regulatory landscape. At the African Union Malabo Convention, the key framework was brought to place, and it was adopted in 2014. A lot of countries have shown, part of like 20 countries are part of it already, but we still have a lot of countries that are not in that. So this is a challenge that Africa do face, and there's no uniformity across African countries in ensuring that there's no fragmentation of different laws and of different laws and different frameworks that each country uses is not harmonized together. So that's part of what Africa is actually facing right now. this already. So these are the pillars that I was talking about, the different pillars that we have to follow: the standard, the policy, the regulation, the governance, and the compliance. So for key governance challenges in Africa, we have the fragmented laws. Different countries in Africa has their own different laws. To move ahead of Africa, we need to find a way to bring all these laws together and follow a particular framework. We also have weak enforcement capacity. Some regulators lack funding, for instance, and then technical skills. Some countries also, they do not have the capacity, and also they are not independent enough to follow through with the framework. We also have low compliance maturity. Many organizations within the African continent in cybersecurity do not have the checklist that they have to follow. Most of them are not compliant. They just go ahead and do what they really feel like doing. And then there's also the cross-border gap around this area. We have the cyber attack that do not respect, cyber attacks do not respect borders at all. It can come from any, it can come from one country to another country. So it doesn't even respect, oh, that I'm in Nigeria or anything. And then we do not share this information. We had our speakers earlier talking about this. We need to unify and also have a hub where we can share this information amongst ourselves. This is what happened in our country. And then the other country is able to now say, oh, okay, this has happened before, and they look out for it. So we have that also. Then we have critical infrastructure exposure in the energy and the telecom sector, even in the healthcare sector. It's increasingly every day, and these infrastructures, they are not, the resilience to keep this infrastructure are not there. Then we also have the third-party cloud risks. We have to be honest with ourselves that Africa as a whole, we import data, we import technology. There is no doubt about that. And there's the risks of this third party and also the cloud risk in these aspects. Then we have skills shortage. People are not trained. In as much as a lot of us in this room are cybersecurity experts, well, we need to be honest with ourselves that the capacity out there is still low. There's room for improvement. There's room for capacity building across Africa as a whole. So what good governance should really look like? When you say now, this is where every organization should be. The maturity level for organization, the maturity level for organization, maturity level for countries that are actually taking note and wanting to be cyber resilient. They should have across board a broad level cyber security oversight. It should be a job of the board. Management needs to be involved when there are cybersecurity decisions being taken. Then there should also be a clear national cybersecurity strategy in every organization, even in countries. When there are strategies going on, when the strategies going on, session going on, management needs to be involved. Board level decisions taken should also be part of that. Then independent and empowered regulators, then mandatory breach reporting, which I talked about earlier on. Coordination of all these breaches should come together under a particular hub. Then we also have protection of critical information infrastructure, our energy sector, our power grid and all that. It should be well protected. Then we'll know we'll have good governance in place. Public-private information sharing. We should come together and bring all this into place. Regional cooperation among member bodies, ECOWAS and the rest. The African, I think there's the African Union Cybersecurity Expert Group. They are the president. They're trying to bring together African countries to ensure that there's a hub that people can put this information in place, and then there's sharing among them, among member states of this country. Then there's also cybersecurity by design, the same as secure by design. Equipment that you're buying, anywhere it's coming from, making sure that this equipment are already secured in design already before they are brought into Africa as a whole. Then we have privacy by design in data systems, regular audits among companies. There should be regular audits, risk assessments within the organization. Incident response testing also. And then we should also ensure these are in place across Africa as a whole. for most organizations, the message across to them is that they should ensure that there's proper risk assessment in their organization. Data mapping is important as well. Security policies, access control policies should be followed. Encryption of data, encryption of information should also be followed. Backup and recovery should be taken very important. Incident response should also be taken importantly. Employee awareness, even if they say they are not cyber aware. Every security starts with each person. That is what you need to do. Right from the security man, you need to make them to be conscious about cybersecurity. Vendor due diligence should be done before you bring in vendors into the organization. Regulatory reporting and then continuous monitoring and independent audits. Policy recommendation for African and regulatory should, African governments and regulators should harmonize cybersecurity. We've heard a lot about that today. And then data protection laws across the continent. It shouldn't just be for a particular country alone. We should come together, harmonize these laws together, like European unions are doing, like the US are doing. You have the GDPR and all that in other countries across Europe and also in America. Africa should come together and have this framework that we will use across Africa and the continent as a whole. It will help us reflect, it will reflect a more cybersecurity conscious Africa. Then it will also, we should also then, the acceleration and ratification of implementation of the Malibu Convention that was had in 2014. This should be implemented across body in organization. They should strengthen the cybercrime investigation and prosecution capacity also. They should invest in cybersecurity education and workforce development across Africa. It shouldn't just be companies doing that. The countries should also do that, and Africa as a whole. It will help in governance. It will also help in regulation and the policies development. We should promote trusted cross-border data flow. I mean, sometimes there are anonymized data that can be used for research purposes across universities, telecoms. Arguably, telecoms have the largest data across most organizations. Those data can be anonymized, and research can be done, developed on, and used across the continent to build models, AI models that would work for Africa and would give us results as Africa. We should not import most of these technologies, most of all this data across the border. Then lastly, I would say that there should be a balanced security with privacy, innovation, and also human rights. In closing, I would say that Africa cybersecurity has a future. Yes, we should not only build our cybersecurity on fear of attack, resilience. We should build it on trust. Mainly, we should trust our government. We should trust platforms that we use. People should be comfortable using our platform. People should be comfortable doing business in Africa because of what they know we have in place, the frameworks we are following, the compliance standard, because they know we're following the standard, the governance is there, and the policies across board is being followed. The continent needs more than laws. It needs implementation, more than policies. It needs accountability, more than compliance, and it needs resilience. Cybersecurity governance in Africa is not just technical necessity. It's a foundation for digital sovereignty. We've heard that a lot today. We need to be sovereign and not depend mainly and rely basically on foreign data and technology, economic growth, public trust, and then continental security. Thank you for listening to me today. I hope you had enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Abiola Ogunbiade. That was an amazing session. Organization should build proactive compliance and ethical standard. Even as individual, we should adhere to all policies and hearts within the industry. Please, let's celebrate her one more time. Thank you so much, Ma. So quickly, it's time for, I don't know if to call this item 7 or item 3. So we'll be moving out to have our lunch break. Let's go with our ticket. This session will last for 45 minutes. So enough time to eat, to relax, and also to network. Thank you. My name remains Remi Ogunkoya. and I'm your moderator for today. Thank you. Let's be mindful of our belongings. It's not safe dropping it here.